Ciao Ciao. Yeehaw, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
This is Western Ciao Ciao, the spaghetti Western show. And tonight, not only are we on video for the live viewers,
I know.
I have Zoe here to my left.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. And we also have via satellite on another part of the planet, all the way from...
Where are you from, Stephen?
I'm from the hills of Appalachia, out here in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Couldn't be better.
We have the great Stephen Thompson.
Woo!
Howdy. Thank you.
And he is going to rock our world with a bunch of stuff.
Yes,
because,
he is.
according to Zoe, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
I think everybody knows that by now, to be honest. It's not a shock to anybody.
Which is not going to be helpful, me being here at all then.
So, to get things cracking here, I just have some updates, some Ciao Ciao Network updates. Apocalypse Ciao, the episode on the Bronx Warriors, is up now on the Patreon page for those of you who are part of that. And the sad news is that people who live outside of the US of A, we're going to have to figure out another way to get you the Ciao Ciao papers, because me being the idiot that I am, the optimist that I am, had no idea that mailing a very small piece of literature to you was going to cost sometimes 3 times the amount of your subscription to the Ciao Ciao Network. So from a business standpoint, it is a horrible, horrible idea. So we are going to have to...
back to the drawing board.
Yes. So for those of you waiting for that, you will be waiting longer. But
as usual, we're super organized.
I had no idea the fucker at the post office was going to start throwing down huge numbers at me.
No, it was expensive, wasn't it?
It was scary.
Yeah.
But for those of you in America, you already have your shit sent to you. So jingle jangle.
And my artwork.
Yeah.
Bud Spencer.
Boom.
Boom. Which is awesome, babe.
Yeah.
We waited back my artwork up there.
I said boom.
Yeah.
Boom's a big thing to say, man.
Yeah, you did.
So, with all of that said, we're back and we're ready to start the show. So, I just want to add that last episode of Western Ciao Ciao, we did a disservice and barely spoke of the soundtrack.
Yeah, we didn't mention the soundtrack, which is kind of important.
We mentioned it a little bit because I was talking about how that was like...
We said it was awesome.
Yeah, and we said like...
it.
We talked about what his first soundtrack was.
Yeah.
But then we just never went back to soundtrack.
We never mentioned it.
We got sidetracked. So, in case you don't know, it is an amazing score. It's...
Do you know anything that you could tell us about the score? Just off the top of your head.
What, Fistful of Dollars, Ennio Morricone?
Yeah. That's about all we mentioned, wasn't it?
Basically, I mean, what I can tell you is that Morricone and Leone went to school together, so that's how they knew each other. And
really?
Yeah, and Leone was actually impressed by some pop song that Morricone had done.
No.
And so they started playing around with it and taking the song apart and kind of remastering it for and just playing around with the different sounds that came out of it. And that's kind of how their collaboration began. And he wanted to get a kind of away from the traditional bombastic music that was you hear in all the westerns. You know, you listen to the Magnificent Seven soundtrack and bum 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 bum. You know, get away from all that. So it was all very Dwayne Eddy style guitar and whistles and whip cracks. A lot of just playing with sounds just to see what they could do with it. And yeah, it's an amazing soundtrack. Well,
Yeah.
all throughout the Dollars trilogy is just amazing music.
It's like part of the. It's like a massive part of the film itself, isn't it? And we completely overlook that.
It's like a part of the genre. Like it's a part of him, you know, like
Yeah.
that he's always connected to that.
It's just like, yeah, it is. But the whole way through, the atmosphere and everything that it creates is. Anyway.
What they say.
Yeah, my daughter's supposed to be in bed.
Yeah,
So it's a good soundtrack. Everyone should have it.
it makes
yeah.
the film, I would say,
Yeah.
doesn't it? The whole
Yeah.
way through, everything about it is just perfection. I'd say.
Especially when you have a lead character that doesn't talk mainly.
Yeah.
You
really
you need to
doesn't.
have a lot of other things going on, and that is one of those things.
Yeah.
So I feel better that we kind of cleared the air about that. Because
Yeah, I can't believe you talked for 2 hours without mentioning Marco. I didn't think that was even possible when discussing POV.
Oh, we could talk about shit for.
fucking hell, dude. But we all
Yeah.
got sidetracked. We were probably talking about some time we went bowling and saw like a cat or
Yeah.
something. Like,
And wrestling will have got in
Yeah,
there, and
probably.
the important shit just went out the window as
Yeah.
usual. So we'll try to be better this time.
we won't talk about something as amazing as the universal title.
Yeah. Are you a wrestling fan, Stephen?
Nah, not really. I can't
No.
say I'm a fan.
It's just as well, because if you were, there'd be major sidetracks.
Yeah, major sidetracks. Shit better
Ever since the Unmasked Kane, it's kind of been like,
tell me about it.
Yeah, but his demon Kane again now.
Yeah, he always goes back and forth now.
He's still awesome.
He is. Okay.
He's a
So
giant
anyway.
of a man.
Giant of a man. Django. So let me tell you a little bit about Django. Django starts walking into town with a coffin. Not even walking into town. He's just walking for a really fucking long time. And it turns out that was kind of a joke they were playing on him, and they let him just walk around the little mountain bit.
Yeah, the
and
whole
never
title
told him
sequence.
never told him to stop, and they were just being quiet to see how long he would go. So that's really funny. But so he's dragging this coffin, and the best thing about the coffin is just how fucking muddy and
We're next to an airport.
out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we're in the middle of mountains. There's nothing around but the airport.
Yeah. Okay. So
Carry on.
so he's got this bitchin' old muddy ass coffin, and he's dragging it around until he comes across this chick getting manhandled by these Mexican dudes, and they tie her up and they start whipping her, and he's just watching, just having a good time. And then these dudes with red scarves, who we'll call the Red Scarf Gang, start shooting him and shoot all the Mexicans. And then you're like, oh, wow, they rescued the girl. That's a relief. And then they're like, hey, guess what, bitch? We're going to tie you to this fucking cross and burn you to death. And so she's like, shit, things just got a little bit worse. But
Out
then,
of the frying pan into the fire kind of situation.
yes, very nice.
That's why I'm here, folks.
So then Django starts talking a little bit of trash, and then through an apology, guns everybody down all at once, and says to the girl who Wikipedia calls a half-breed prostitute, he's like, hey, honey, you stick with me and you're going to be safe. So let's go back to this fucked up town where everything's going to get really fucked up. So
and I love how they kind of define the hero right here. Beating a chick, that's all right, but setting her on fire, there's a line that
There's a line
you won't
there.
cross. Yeah, and
yeah, you can't come back from being burned.
Burning on a cross, too far. Good whipping, fine.
Yeah, she probably deserved the whipping.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
don't listen the first time.
they make it into town, and the town has no name. I don't think it's just the we'll call it Sweden. It's the place where the two gangs.
Sorry, Swedish listeners.
Yeah, sorry guys. It's the place where the red scarfs and the Mexicans don't fight. It's like the neutral ground. So he goes in, finds this really colorful whorehouse for such a dilapidated town, with a lot of colorful whores and a very funny
Can I just say,
little man. Yes.
The best part for me, well, one of the best parts is that set of the saloon. I don't know why. I think the dress, the dressing of the set with that, it's like washed out but colourful at the same time. All the whores are like kind of realistically looking, like none of them are lookers, shall we say. They're painted ladies, aren't they? They're really, and they're all like coughing and burping and swilling great pints of beer.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
kind of
like,
gross.
They're kind of gross, but they're kind of like
But
what you would imagine would be kind of semi-realistic compared to your American version. Would you say?
Yeah, because
they are so plain that later on, when there's a fight between three of them out in the mud, it's kind of hard to tell when they switch to the stuntmen wearing wigs.
It's impossible. It's great stuff.
Except for the one holding her top up. The other two.
At least one or two of those girls had some pretty heavy jaws.
Yeah, they did.
A big jawline. Like they weren't fucking around. So between the really bright clothes that the hookers were wearing and the drab but bright colors of the bar, it really made them pop on the screen.
Yeah, they
like come off. But so that was pretty cool. So he walks in and tells the dude, hey, put this chick up for the night. I want something to eat. And he's like, no. And he's like, bitch, give me your key. Here's some money. Go up and take a nap. I'm hungry. Give me some food. So while all this is going on, the creepy preacher guy comes.
Brother Jonathan.
What a creepy fucker this guy is. So he comes in and has a little altercation with Mr. Django while he's eating, and then goes to tell the head of the Red Scarf Gang. And Jackson. Major Jackson. Major Jackhole, right? So he's a dick. And so him and a bunch of his dudes, after they gunned down a bunch of Mexicans running out of a little gated area for fun, go in, and one of them's name is Ringo, and Ringo's got some fucked up teeth and fucked up gums and a shitty scar on his face.
His teeth are like those ones, you can order them really cheap from Amazon for when you get like, Halloween crazy.
Yeah. Like the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, Dollar Tree false teeth.
And that was actually kind of an inside joke. There's a whole series of Ringo movies. Pistol for Ringo, I think is probably the most popular of those. And that's why that character, the ugliest fucker of the bunch, was named Ringo. It was kind of like a little jab at the Ringo movies.
Really?
Because who's this? Yeah, the handsome Ringo.
Best part about it
character
is how easy he gets killed.
Oh yeah,
when you see this guy, you think he's going to be around for a while, and he's going to end up being some fucking dude that you're going to have to deal with over and over again. He fucking puts his gun over his shoulder while he's throwing back some fucking sandwich or something, and fucking shoots him like this, like Ash on Evil Dead or some shit. And he just fucking dies on the bar. It was beautiful. It happened so fucking quick. So then Django says, now listen here, Mr. Jackson Red Scarf, you go get all your fucking homies and bring them back here, because like obviously I just beat your ass and killed all your dudes, so you need as much help as you could get. And he's like, oh, I'll go get them and I'll bring them. There's 48 of them. Now the funniest thing is, we're jumping ahead right here, but the 48 guys that come out, one of them didn't get the memo and his hood's orange.
Is it?
There's one dude in an orange hood, and
I missed that when I was trying to count all of these. And bring all 48 of them.
So
it looks like about 20.
Yeah,
but that's the thing, because how
some of them fall down twice. So
how they did it, they had them all walk out on one side, and then they're like, "Okay, cut, run over here." Now all you guys walk out over on this side, and the only way you notice it is because there's the one dude with the orange fucking hood. So
both sides.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh man, so funny. But we all know that those guys in the hoods are probably the Mexicans, because they only had so many people in the movie, so they had them double. But whatever. So anyway,
yeah, that's the great thing about making your bad guys KKK members. You can reuse them however you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
So
back in the hood. Now take the hood off and be Joe.
Now Mexican, go.
So Django goes upstairs to tell Maria, the half-breed, that he's just going to take a blanket and go sleep somewhere. But she tells him that this is the first time she's ever felt like a woman. And so Django's going to make her feel like a real woman. He's going to pack his pistol and mama.
Whoa!
I've been wanting to say that since that scene. Okay. So, Pistol Packin' Mom is a
Can
good
I just
song.
say, hang on, I put a note somewhere.
Uh-oh. You might be here
He belongs to the Tom Atkins School of Seduction there. That's what I thought.
You're a jerk.
What? I love Tom Atkins.
No, you do.
It was that like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Get upstairs, and then, oh, okay, then shuts the door. Let's get on with this then. It was like...
He didn't even say anything. He took his hat off, and then he goes
That's
over.
all he needed to
and
do.
he's like, hey, I'm glad I made you feel like a woman. And then
Yeah.
Shania Twain's all, bam!
Oh,
Yeah, you have eyes like Franco Nero. That's about all you need.
yeah, exactly.
So we don't get to see the Bone Thug happen, but we know it did. And so he goes outside with his coffin, and we're like, what the fuck's in the coffin? So when all the hooded dudes show up,
Django is in the coffin.
he opens the coffin up.
Can I just say, before you say that, I had no clue when I first watched this what was going on. It was completely new to me, and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is the most awesome film I've ever seen in my life. I was totally not expecting it. And the whole setting of that town was so like, because usually, yeah, it's muddy and stuff, but this was like...
That was muddy.
It was muddy. It was...
Yeah, normally it's dirty.
Yeah.
Normally everything's dirty, but this, I mean, you were...
This is like
in 3
knee
feet
deep.
deep in mud.
Yeah.
It's
Gray,
ridiculous.
cloudy, everything's falling down. There's no sunshine going on. There is a bit,
when
but
you look at when they have the big wide shot, you can see out in the distance past the tree, there's a little bit of grass.
a tiny bit
It's
of
all
green.
green.
That's it.
So anyway, so he pulls out this Gatling gun out of his coffin, and it's like, bam, that's what I've been dragging around, bitches. And he fucking mows down almost everybody, and then pulls his pistol out and shoots Major Jackson's horse or something.
Yeah, is that right?
And so he falls face first in the mud, and it's like more of a like, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah,
So-
humiliation.
Yeah, so
Which,
him
let's
and
face it, he needed.
yeah,
He was an asshole.
he very much did. So him and what's his name, Nathaniel, the barkeep,
the barkeeper, yeah.
they decide that they're going to go bury all these bodies. And the greatest line in the movie, I think, is when Nathaniel's like bitching about digging graves, and then he's like, well, I guess I'd be rather up here doing that than down there doing nothing. And I'm sure they ripped that off of some other fucking movie, but I was just like, fuck, that's profound as shit, dude.
It's awesome.
And then we find out that the reason why Django's doing all this stuff is because Jackson killed his old lady,
Yeah.
Mercedes Zago or something like that.
Where are you getting this information from? I can't
Off of
remember
her
this.
cross.
Oh, good thinking, babe.
What, to look at the tombstone to see who's buried there?
See, I was probably distracted by Franco Nero a little bit
Yeah, probably.
because he is rather attractive.
Yeah, well, so now he's got
On
a
that note, I'm
grudge.
just going to top my wine up. I'll bring
Good
it with me.
effing Lord. Okay.
Sorry, I'll be back in a second.
Okay. You might as well just pour me some too, or bring me a glass. So anyhow, now that this is super exciting, everything gets crazy now because he goes back because he gets beat up by some Mexicans, and then we find out that back in the old day, he saved Hugo's life. Now Hugo's the head of the Mexican Revolution, and he's going to go down to Mexico and take it over and all this shit. So Django comes up with some plan about breaking into where Jackson's hiding out, which I guess is in Mexico at a, what is it, like a,
Yeah, some kind of fort there in Mexico.
yeah.
And
So
he's trying to transport his gold across the border and was making the stop there at this fort. So
yeah.
now, why they decided to attack the fort instead of just waiting till he was out in the open. I guess you can up the body count this way.
Yeah, there's a couple of weird little tidbits like that.
What
Like,
are you-
why did they do this when they could have just done that? But and
What
we'll
are you
get
talking about in that particular
that
bit?
they're gonna go take out the fort
To get the gold.
instead of waiting for them to just like cross in a horse and carriage.
But the gold was in the fort.
I know, but they were gonna move it.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that was the whole point. Jackson was
better.
moving his gold.
see, there we go, sorted. It was better.
It was another
No, but
location.
it was the location, but it was also the whole Nathaniel pretending he was bringing whores into the fort, which was a good touch.
Yeah, it was a good touch. What was that? We just saw something where they had to. Oh, it was on fucking what was that show called? Quick Draw that we used to watch on Hulu.
Oh crap! No.
It wasn't called Quick Draw.
Did you ever see that, Stephen? It was like a sort of comedy.
Well, I don't even know what it was called. So
No, we don't either.
Shit, I can't believe it. But do you remember when they all dressed up like whores and they like had to wear dresses and the
Oh yeah,
wigs
they
and,
like.
and then they were all hitting on that one guy.
That's
like-
right. Yeah.
They totally ripped that off. That's funny.
I think it might have been
Yeah.
Quick Draw. Hang on, I'll Google. While you
She's
talk.
gonna goo. I'm gonna goo Quick Draw and see what's
Yeah,
going
that's
on.
you do that and see what it is.
Good
Yeah,
old
it may be a
goo.
while.
If you Google it, see if there's guys dressed up like whores. who-
So then Django finds out that Hugo doesn't want to just give him his gold, and that Hugo kind of wants to keep his gold to help finance his revolution. And once he gets into power, he'll give Django twice the amount. And Django's like, yeah, fuck this. So he takes some other whore upstairs. But first, he makes Maria feel like shit because that's just kind of how he rolls.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this, Stephen. You know the bit where he says because he beats up Ringo, the guy. They have a
Not
huge-
Ringo, it's Ricardo. I
Yeah,
think.
Ricardo. Sorry, Ringo's dead. He beats him up because he's trying it on with her, and then he says, "I'll give
Well,
you
no,
her
he
as a
beats
knight."
him up because he pulled a gun on Hugo. And so Hugo's like, you saved my life twice now. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, buddy.
I don't think it was that accent.
Okay. So anyway, homeboy falls on a pickaxe.
Maybe you watched a different dub of it than.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
the
It's Quick Draw on
Hulu.
Hulu.
I'll
with
have to check
John
that out.
Lear.
Yeah, it's hysterical.
It's
such a
really,
good show.
honestly, you'll love it. It's filthy as well, isn't it? It's so bad, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
really
like
funny.
hilarious.
If you have
Cool.
Hulu,
I'll check
give it a
look at
watch.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
So
it's
anyhow,
so good.
But
Go ahead.
one thing I want to mention, this gold, now this big revolution that Hugo's going to have. He specifically states that what they're going to do is buy 10 of Django guns.
Yeah,
And it kind of makes you wonder how we'd like lost at the Alamo if all you need is 10 Django guns to go and take over Mexico.
yeah. It would
The
make things a
Mexican
lot
army
easier.
must have been shit by then. If all you need is 10 big guns and you've got the whole fucking gun.
That would be it. It would just be over in
Yeah.
like 5 minutes.
I mean, they would have to like walk in front of it. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
they would just get it.
If you get enough of Mexicans to line up.
hmm
Yeah, and apparent. I mean, I don't want to get all like Donald Trump and talk shit about the Mexicans, but I'm first off, they let themselves be used by like Skeet by Major Jackson earlier in the movie. It's just like, okay, pull, and they go running out and get shot.
Yeah,
I
we
have
forgot to
have to
mention that.
have. I have to wonder, yeah, about the Mexican military. We'll just line up and let you take 10 machine guns to us. The
Just
war's over.
stand there and let us gun you down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we never even got to the question about him treating her like
Yeah,
shit.
that was the question I wanted to ask you about because I get confused at that bit every time when he turns Maria down. He's like, no, I'll have this Mexican girl instead. Is that because he's more likely to distract the guys that are holding the gold
Yeah, I mean, his whole focus at that point seems to be getting the gold. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would say is he just wanted to use her, this one girl. She wasn't going to be involved in anything. So, you can just just stand there and undress and don't pay any attention to me.
But was
Whereas Maria would probably get all mouthy about it more and know what the fuck was going on. And it's like, bitch, shut up. I got shit to do.
Well, from a writing standpoint, it might have been difficult for them to go, okay, if Maria's upstairs undressing, how the hell does she get down and
want to go away with him?
Yeah. Because I could see that as a whole big conversation.
Because it seemed like it was weird how he was deliberately humiliating her, and I couldn't figure out what the thought.
Yeah, and I'd have to wonder about how much of that was show for General Hugo and trying to stay in character.
To ally himself with them and stuff. Yeah,
throw Hugo off the track.
Yeah.
So what he ends up doing is he takes his coffin. And this is when I was thinking to myself, if he would have had just a purse or something, this would have been so much
Django
easier.
Doesn't wear purses.
I know, and it makes sense once you find out what the fuck he's doing.
Machete does the text.
Yeah. Anyway, so he takes the coffin up the stairs, out the window, and then uses it as a bridge, picks it up, carries it across the thing, goes on a roof, drops the coffin
there you go. He
down
can't make
chimney.
a bridge out of a purse, can he?
He could jump. It was this far of a gap. Anyway, so he goes down the chimney.
I disagree.
She disagrees. Pulls the gun out of the coffin, and
well, if Indiana Jones could jump that big thing with his purse,
exactly. You see, that's a good point. Indiana Jones can rock a purse. But Django kind of could, I think.
Indiana Jones had a satchel, I believe.
Oh, we're gonna bicker over the description of the purse satchel.
So anyway, so he starts filling his coffin up with gold, and sets the gun up to create a diversion, which is it's going to start shooting a bunch, and he's going to get away. So which is
awesome, by the way.
And as he's getting away, Maria's like, "I want to come with you." Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And he's like, oh, "Okay." But then they get to the bridge where they met, and then he tells her the whole story. You better leave, because if you stay with me, you're gonna die, because women with me die. And then talks about his wife. Yeah. And then
can I just point out for the purposes of, well, I can't even think what the word is, but he was in the bathroom at this point, so he's relying
just on the second watch.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Go on.
So anyway, so then her gun goes off or something like that. The coffin falls into the quicksand. Then the Mexicans show up and are pissed off at him for being a thief, break his hand. She gets shot.
You're glossing over a lot of really important points here. That was
for discussion purposes. I'm just trying to get to the end of this movie.
I'll shut up.
It's getting really difficult here.
Sorry, people.
So anyway, so his hands are all fucked up. He somehow manages with fucked up hands to get down there, pick up his chick, and then walk her ass back to town. Because he's Django. Although we don't get to see that part, obviously. So Nathaniel's about to leave his place forever because everyone's dead, and he's sad, and his piano is there, and his violin's missing strings and shit, and he's about to start crying. And then all of a sudden Django walks in, and he's like, "Hey, before you leave, you got to take care of this girl. She got shot, but I'm sure if you watch her for 5 minutes, the bullet will fall out or something."
I know that was
and he's like, "Okay, cool, I'll do that." And he's like, "Tell Major Red Scarf that I'm gonna be at the cemetery." And he's like, "Okay." So he leaves. And then what really irritates me is I don't understand why he didn't say to Nathaniel, "Hey, can you take this trigger guard off my gun real quick, because my fingers can't hurt." But he didn't do that. So he just went to the cemetery.
That's a good point.
Right after he left, Red Scarf shows up with the rest of his hooded dudes or whatever. Herd
clan
of dudes
members
or whatever. Whoever is left. I don't even know.
There's 5.
Oh yeah,
there's 5 left, and this is
and
important.
all the
important. Yeah,
all the Mexicans.
This is important.
So
because now we know he got 43 the first time.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom. So then he's like, hey, Django's at the cemetery, but you shouldn't have a problem with him because his hands are broken. And Major doesn't say anything and just shoots him like 8 times in the stomach, which we don't see. We're just assuming. So he falls down. Maria looks shocked. And then the most shocking part of this is that she's not in the movie anymore. So just lay there. You'll be fine. So
We'll come back to
Major
that.
Jackson and his dudes go to the cemetery. Now, by this time, Django finally was able to unscrew
with his teeth
the trigger guard. And then after about 6 or 7 really botched attempts of trying to put a gun on a cross, I'm sitting here going, Jesus Christ, this is the worst fucking plan that anyone's ever come up with in the history of
it's
forever.
like the most awesome scene in all time.
So he shows up and Major's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you now, say your prayers, blah blah blah, and he shoots all the sides of the cross and all this stuff. And then Django, what does he say?
No, he's saying,
can you hear me now?
No, he said, why didn't you bring your death suit?
Your coffin
with you?
Yeah,
because that was like what
your burial suit.
Your burial suit, because he said that from the beginning when they met in the bar, and he said, I can't hear you, because he wants him to like plead for his life, kind of thing.
That's right. And then
then he said, can you hear this?
Yeah.
And gets
then
all 6 shots off.
And all the dudes just fall down.
It's fantastic.
And then he walks away. And we have to suspect that he's going to go get his girl the bullets out of her, and she's all healed up by now. He's got to fix his hands, and then they're going to get the gold out of the pit and live happily ever after. It's probably not going to happen.
I don't think any of that shit's going to happen.
No.
So
what's one thing before I want to jump in before I forget, in the original Italian, the thing where he's shooting the pattern on the cross that Django's sitting behind, the actual dialogue in the Italian version, he's saying the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, doing the whole
really
cross thing, which is why he's putting the bullets in the pattern that he does. And right before Django shoots him, Django says Amen.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Why they? I don't know whether it was just because the Italians, Fulci was great about trying to piss Catholics off. I don't know if that's why they changed it when they brought it over to America. They didn't want it to seem so sacrilegious. But in the Italian version, that's the way they left it.
That would be, because I was like, why?
I thought that was pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, totally bad. But I was thinking, like, why is he's behind this tiny little cross? If he wanted to kill him, like, there's nothing.
Kill him.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
There's nothing there. And I was kind of wondering why he was just like, yeah, he's toying with him, kind of thing. But that's like awesome. Like, there's actual significance to it.
I just thought he was a shit shot after he killed all these dudes at like 900 yards. Like,
yeah, but he's picking little tiny parts. Yeah. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
Not impressive enough though.
He's a pretty impressive guy.
Not really.
He's got a
Not
red
compared
scarf.
to Django.
And he's all
with his pretty blue eyes. I'm just saying it right there.
Now, you have a.
No, we need to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about it.
We need to talk about separate scenes that are amazing in the film.
Okay, hit it.
Well, the bit at the beginning will. Why are you going to hit it? That makes me like.
Tap it.
Well, I think we should discuss it.
I feel like a woman.
That's what I'm saying. Find a thing and attack it.
Well, that scene in itself is just like, to me, the perfect.
The last scene?
Yeah. The end scene is like you're saying, it's like frustrating that he's fumbling and he's doing. That's like.
Well, it's suspense.
Yeah, they're building the suspense. There's no way he's going to be able to take 6 guys when he can't even hold the gun.
It's such a good way, like the way he does it. He was 23 when he did this, and like he was like it was his major, like his breakthrough part, wasn't it? And he was like, I don't know. It's just like the whole fumbling with those, and it's like close-ups on those mangled hands and shit. It's so good, and him dropping it, and you're like, hanging on it, aren't you? Like, what are you doing? Pick it up, pick it up. And he's like, oh, it's so good. When I first watched it, I couldn't believe it. Like, we're joking about it and like doing like the jokey version of it, but this is like one of the most awesome spaghetti western films, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the one that even the Fistful of Dollars and all the sort of Clint Eastwood ones, I love those. You can't deny how awesome they are. But this one's more like raw and, I don't know, like messy round the edges, but it isn't, you know? Yeah. And it's like all like...
Yeah, Corbucci didn't really have that kind of flair that Leone has. His a little more workmanlike, but at the same time, there's just so many... I was reading a quote about Corbucci. Somebody said that even his worst movies, you're going to find an amazing scene.
Yeah.
And even in these best movies, you're going to find shitty scenes. That's paraphrasing. So he had these like flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
But it really just all kind of comes together for him in Django.
It totally does. There's sort of the whole thing. There's like, I was reading Wikipedia and all this kind of stuff, that the only two people who aren't overacting is Franco Nero and Maria's character. And they're like, everybody else is like that typical Italian overacting and the dubbing and all that kind of thing, but that all kind of adds to it, you know. And it's even Django, when you first see him, when he comes in and he starts talking, he's got that American, it's like very John Wayne kind of talk, isn't it? That drawl and everything, and it loses that a little bit as he's going on, but it's like they're trying to be like the John Wayne character in it. But because he isn't, and because it's that raw sort of grittiness to it and all that kind of thing going on, it just makes it somehow. It makes it a better film for me. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think like the whole like as an adaptation of Yojimbo kind of thing, I kind of like this story better than how Fistful of Dollars went. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is the fort and the gold. Like, that was like a little like, why are they doing this, like that kind of thing. But the actual the two sides were very clear. Like, you knew exactly who was on this side and who was on that side. It wasn't as
in Fistful of Dollars, it's like two sort of gangs of people who are kind of similar, and it isn't confusing if you know what you're watching, but it's not as distinguished, the two. Like,
the funny thing
groups.
is that's a lot easier to follow than Yojimbo.
Yojimbo was
the Yojimbo groups were like so fucking hard to decipher. Like, you had no idea who they were unless there was some giant with a mallet.
Who was like, awesome.
Oh, that's that guy. That's that side. I got it.
He was amazing, yeah.
But
I think some of the things, like when you look at all right, you've got so many similarities between this and Fistful. You look at the torture scene. You know, Clint Eastwood gets the shit kicked out of him, but when they break his hand, they break the wrong hand. You know, I mean, it's all right. You've got the guy is the fastest fucking gun in the West, and in this particular movie, you break his left hand knowing he shoots with his right. And it's now, whereas Corbucci here, it's like, break both these fucking hands.
Yeah, just smash them to bits.
Him up. Yeah, just repeatedly smashing his hands with a fucking rifle butt. It's brutal.
Yeah,
the brutality in this movie is just over the top. And of course, one of the most famous scenes is Brother Jonathan getting his ear cut off.
Yeah.
It's just brutal and fed to him.
Yeah,
even Tarantino didn't go that far with it.
I was like, at least let him go. That's bad enough, isn't it? But then I was like, no, he's a shit. He needs to get shot as well. But it was like pretty bad.
But see, even that scene there, again, you've got the Italians fucking being sacrilegious. They take the Brother Jonathan, the kind of religious head of the KKK group.
Yeah.
And they do this kind of communion parody where they cut off his ear and feed it to him.
Yeah,
it's
that as well.
Yet again, they're fucking with the Catholics.
Yeah. Which you can imagine. I was reading about the UK, and they didn't get a full release or something till 1993. Did I say? I've got it in my notes, but like they just kept looking at it and going, "Oh no." I can imagine the British people, being like, "Oh no, Mary Whitehouse and all that business. She'll have had no strength with that at all. She will have none." But it was he just didn't. They didn't
insane.
hold back.
The body count is what, like 150 some in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's at least 48.
Yeah.
And all the Mexicans at the end, that's pretty brutal as well.
And that's the thing. Nobody's left. When this movie is, I mean, the cynicism is like over the top. In Fistful of Dollars, at least the coffin maker's happy, at the end of the movie. He's got plenty to do. But everybody loses everything. All the whores have to move on. Their entire life was right here. The bartender, whatever the fuck his name, Jeremiah or
Nathaniel.
Yeah, he's fucked at the end. He's ready to move on, but he runs into Jackson and Django. He's fucked up, loses all the gold in the fucking quicksand.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like they upped everything about Fistful of Dollars. It's almost like Corbucci said, it was kind of bleak, but I think I can make something a little more depressing.
Yeah.
But he didn't kill the girl. That's the whole thing. Like, why did he let her live?
Maybe he thought she was going to die anyway, or...
Yeah, you don't know whether she's actually survived because Nathaniel was the one who was supposed to be taking care of her, and he's gone, so... In theory,
who knows? She may have bled out.
Yeah,
and he's going to go kill Django. So there's Django's not going to come back and save her.
Yeah,
so fucking leave her there to fucking die a slow, painful death.
Yeah, it's pretty. But I think that's what makes it. Like I was saying in the last episode, that the American version of the Western, to me, I've always been a fan of them. Not so much because I
never really liked them.
You grew up with them, didn't you? And it was all like a huge, like in the family, you watched them all the time. And we used to have it on Sundays. My granddad used to be a huge fan of the Western stuff. But the American version of it is just this sort of glossy, clean, like even they get dusty, don't they? When they've traveled a long way, but that's about as bad as it gets. Dusty.
When John Wayne gets to where he's going, he knocks the dust off of him, and then he's clean until next time he has to go
He does
out.
a couple of bats with his shirt or his suede jacket with the vest. With the tassels. Yeah. And then he's kind of back.
Tassels. Listen to you.
John Wayne didn't wear fucking tassels.
I think he did in that last one.
Roy Rogers made
tassels.
That one. What was that one? He had it was like a light suede. It was like almost like Daniel Boone.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking of with the tassels.
It was like the last one. He gets killed at the end of it, right? It's like the one where he actually dies.
What's that one, Stephen? You know.
I'm trying to think of it. Well,
this is like American Ciao Ciao.
What I'm saying is,
and I can't think of it. Can't think of
Western High.
You're an idiot. Basically, the American version is.
I thought the last one wasn't Rooster Cockburn. The last one he did, or was there one after that?
What was it?
Rooster Cockburn.
No, thank you.
Can I just say as an aside, when I was a veterinary nurse, we had in one of the branches of the place.
This is why we never talked about Maricone in the last episode. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, we used to have a lady that came in that it was spelt, her name was spelt Cockburn, but she came in and if you said that, you were in big trouble. It was Coburn. She'd go, no, it's Coburn. And she was really pissed if you got it wrong. And I was like, it's Cockburn. How can
drop
you
the K?
Yeah. How can you drop a CK in a word?
That's a silent CK. Babe, what time is it? I'll check my lock.
My low.
My low, that's right.
Anyway, I'm just saying the spaghetti Western.
I'm going to have to Google it.
What was it?
The Shootist was the last movie.
Was that the one?
The Shootist.
Yeah. Matt's stepdad was like super into it.
And so was my grandpa.
And your grandpa.
Yeah.
And my granddad was as well, but it was the same as like
Super John Wayne.
they all seemed the same. Everybody was clean. Everybody, like, things happened. They were awesome because from a British point of view, you got to see these like incredible like vistas.
Flat landscapes.
No, Monument Valley, all this
Yeah.
like incredible landscape, and all of that immediately made me like them. But when I saw spaghetti westerns, like that was, yes, you still had the outdoor, you still had that kind of scenic thing, but it was like another step up.
Yeah.
Nothing was held back, Like I said in the last one, kids would get it. Women would get it. Whoever, animals, whatever. Nobody was safe in it. There was gore, like graphic violence, like stuff that made you cringe, blood. People were like beaten up. And there's something about that makes it, and like you say, the cynicism, there was something more meaty to it.
Yeah.
And
Let's
I'm
see.
looking
There we
forward
go. There's John Wayne with tassels.
There, see? Tassels!
Yeah. Was that
You
the
laughed at
Searchers?
me.
No, I didn't. He did.
John
Oh, wait,
Wayne
no, I
wore
did.
tassels.
I
You did laugh
yeah,
at
I
me.
did
then.
laugh at you. John Wayne raided Graham Parsons' closet.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
But anyway, I'm sorry, I got distracted by Googling that. But yeah, it was kind of like the same thing with me as my grandmother on Saturday mornings. It was always Wagon Train and Wyatt Earp and that kind of stuff. And then Sunday afternoon, it was always something like Rio Bravo or one of the John Wayne westerns.
Yeah.
But then you flip, TBS was always into the Clint Eastwood, always showing Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Fistful of Dollars, and Pale Rider, and it's like, okay, that's what I really gravitated toward.
Yeah.
And then once I VHS became a thing, and you could actually go and hunt down stuff, and that's when I started getting into it. And the thing was, I don't know whether, there's so many things going on there. First off, the Western is kind of America's mythology. None of that shit really happened the way it did. And Jesse James was a fucking psychopath, but yet he's always a fucking hero in these movies, or at least a lovable rogue. He's our Robin Hood, when actually the guy was a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
But there's kind of like this whitewashing of our mythology, and a couple things happened what happens with the spaghetti western, kind of getting into the history of it. You have Dashiell Hammett, who created the Maltese Falcon, Sam Spade, and the Continental Op. This man with the no name going into a fucking town and all these warring factions of gangsters and cleaning it up. And there's so much cynicism there. And it's still very American. It's very much an American thing.
Yeah.
That cynicism, but we kind of try to deny it and push that whole optimism and conquering the wild frontier and everything's going to be great. And it wasn't until it got kind of filtered through the Japanese, Kurosawa takes John Ford and those big sweeping vistas and that cinematography style and fell in love with it, but also fell in love with that cynicism and created Yojimbo, which Corbucci and Leone kind of took and looked at it and said, okay, let's play with these ideas. So you get stuff, Fistful of Dollars, Minnesota Clay, another one where you've got a hero who was going blind. He's coming out of prison into a situation where you got warring gangs at each other's throats and he gets thrust into the middle of it. And the cynicism that they added in, it really made it, truly American, despite the fact that it was filtered through these four different foreigners' eyes.
Yeah,
And
I totally agree with that. It's like a more real view of what it would have been like, the whole thing, instead of being that glossed over Hollywood version.
Right, and the perfect example of how it kind of we embraced it back over here in America is you look at what came out in 1969. You've got Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which was very much the same kind of, owes its roots to the singing cowboy and raindrops keep falling on my head and all that beautiful fun stuff. You don't get to see them die at the end. It's just a freeze frame instead of a hell of bullets. Whereas you look at The Wild Bunch, which came out in the same year, after we've had a slew of spaghetti westerns, and see what Peckinpah did, and it's very much that dirty, grimy, brutal, pessimistic view of things, where these are the outlaws, at the end of the era, the same as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, these end of the era outlaws. And there's so much brutality and realism injected back into it. And that cynicism that, thing wasn't all fucking, sunshine and singing cowboys.
No, it's exactly it. It's like, it's such a brutal version of it. And it's, I don't know, it's just so much better from a viewer's point of view to me. Like,
well,
I don't want
it
to
makes all of the stuff from the 50s boring.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes it really, really dull, because it's like a kid's version of.
It's like a Disney version.
Yeah, because I mean that's a lot of what it was. It was Saturday afternoon matinees. Kids would go to the fucking movies. Pay their quarter and sit there all day watching the Cowboys and Indians. Good versus bad. Very black and white, straight down the middle. This is right, this is wrong. Now the ambiguity, and it wasn't. It took the Italians to make the Western grow up. And while you did have some great movies in there, you had High Noon and Shane are two of my absolute favorites. Shane I could watch over and over and over again. But then you look at Pale Rider, which takes the Shane story and kind of filters it through what Eastwood learned from Leone, and you have a very identical story, but it's so much more dismal.
Yeah,
and kind of that supernatural element to it. And you're not really sure, I mean, even, that lead character, the preacher, you're not really sure what to make of him before it's all over with.
That's what, I think that's what it is as well.
There's not that there's not where Shane was kind of like, oh, I really don't want to get involved and I don't want to go back to being violent, but, if I'm forced to. Whereas, Preacher he's like, he knows he's on that road to vengeance. And another example, if you were to take a look at John Sturgis, what he did, Gunfight at the OK Corral, the story of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and Wyatt's brothers, very much a black and white story. There's the good guys, the Earps and Doc Holliday, and the Clampetts, which are the bad guys, and it culminates in the big gunfight that everybody knows about. But then 10 years later, come 1967. He and Sturgis and James Garner and what's his name? Can't think of the dude that played Doc Holliday in that. But anyway, it's the vendetta ride that takes place after the gunfight, whereas Wyatt Earp is on the wrong side of the law, and there's all these discussions between Wyatt and Doc Holliday about what is right, where is the line, what is vengeance, what is justice. I think after the Italians got hold of it, they're able to embrace a more adult type of Western where we can have these philosophical discussions, and maybe the guys in the white hats weren't always the ones that are in the right. So it's really pretty fascinating. And of course, you look at what Eastwood did during the 70s. He just completely embraced what the Italians doing, and used his star power to make it mainstream in America.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. It's so, I don't know, it's so good. I think the word that you picked up on the best there is the made it more adult.
Yeah,
because it is, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's so, you have to watch it and you have to have some like open mind about it. And I'm not sure. I think as an audience, people enjoy those films, but it's like a more niche. Would you say it's a more niche audience that like the spaghetti western compared to like those?
Well, you gotta get past dubbing because like people here hate when the words don't go on the mouth, you know. And I think it's fun as shit. Like I love that.
Yeah, I do as
But,
well. But I would like to see the original. Like after you were saying about the Italian version, is there an actual Italian version with subtitles of Django? I don't know if you
Sure
can
there
even get
is.
that.
Yeah, yeah, I've actually seen one. A friend of mine had the VHS, but I'll have to look and see if I can, still get hold of one
It might be
because it's been years.
on the Blu-ray thing on it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there might be another version on the Blu-ray of it. I would love to see that.
Because I know they just remastered it not too long ago. But
Yeah.
I haven't upgraded my copy, so.
Ugh.
But like to get back what you were saying, like I don't think we would have movies like Bone Tomahawk or like
Bone Tomahawk.
Have you seen it? What did you think of
That
it?
movie is fucking brilliant.
Oh, seriously, we watched it and we were exhausted.
Yeah.
By the end of it. It was so fucking good, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was good.
Was so fucking brutal.
Yeah.
That is.
I was starting to wonder during like the first like half hour, and it's like, man, this is really good dialogue, but the dialogue was really fucking snappy.
Yeah.
It was almost like Joss Whedon, did a western at the beginning. It's like, man, I'm really digging this, but where are they going with this? And then when they got there, I was like, oh my god, this is one of the most gruesome fucking things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
This is.
But like,
I mean,
I don't think you ever had that if you didn't have the spaghetti western growing up the western. Like, I don't think that would have ever.
No, I don't know if audience.
But like,
could
even like
handle
the remake to 3:10 to Yuma, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, just all of those. I don't know if. I mean, I'm sure they would have matured on their own, but it just doesn't seem like it because those movies seem more like spaghetti westerns than westerns to me.
Yeah, they totally do. The whole Bone Tomahawk thing where there's just like no holds barred. Once it got into that, it was like halfway
the guy
through.
who made it. He's like, hey, I really like Fistful of Dollars and I really like fucking Cannibal Holocaust.
It was like a matter
fucking movie. But
speaking of which, a little bit of trivia here. Assistant director on Django.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
It's Deodato.
Really?
Who went on to do Cannibal Holocaust.
Weird.
Because those characters, those like troglodyte, is that the right word?
What, in Bone Tomahawk?
Yeah. That was like, if only they'd thought of doing that in the spaghetti western as well. Can you imagine? I don't know whether would that be good or bad. I don't know, but that kind of outward.
I'm sure there's got to be
of people that were just, and that the whole
kind of like that.
Yeah, but the whole thing with
because you have to wonder because the Italians, I mean, they were so good at. Okay, this worked once, so let's try Hercules fighting, in the future, or Hercules fighting zombies because Hercules
they tried every
and zombies worked. So
like Zombie
things
Holocaust
together.
is another one of those. Like you have the zombie movies doing well, and you have the cannibal movies doing well. Let's make a movie
mash it
with
up.
cannibals and zombies. So.
And they worked as well, though. They were so good.
Oh.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so good. But yeah, I think you're right. I think if the spaghetti western hadn't come along and we were just left with the John Wayne, America's Awesome, all that kind of
Kurt Russell would never have good facial hair.
Yes, he would. He's pissing me off dissing the Kurt.
Even with his fake mustache.
Yeah, that was good. There was only Sam. What was he called?
The only thing I've seen him is the computer wore tennis shoes. So
What was it that? Who was it? Was it only Sam? I'm saying Sam Neill because I
Are you
can't
trying to
remember.
say Sam Elliott?
Sam Elliott.
Why are you screaming?
Sorry, I drank a lot of wine. All I'm saying is, apparently,
you give me a
Sam
nice
Neill.
Coors Light.
Sam Elliott is the
was
only one who
with
has
the
real
proper
facial hair.
in
Tombstone.
Tombstone, which
Is an amazing movie.
yes,
Yes. But we're not here to talk about that or Young Guns.
damn it, why not?
So what kind of notes you got?
Well, I'm going to slow things down because they're all like notes.
Well, use what you wrote down and try to remember
Hang
and
on,
talk about it.
I can't see. I'm in.
If
I've got a lot
now is this stuff you Googled or
Yeah, Googled this, so it's got to be
Googled all
right.
this.
Okay.
Okay, well, you're getting your notes together. I'm going to go get my bottle of wine,
Okay.
and you'll notice I planned accordingly. I'm drinking red wine because that goes with spaghetti.
Oh my God, my dad would be so proud of you. He is disgusted with me if I have white wine. Oh,
I don't blame him.
I'm sorry. I'm totally yelling. I'm so sorry. Go and get your wine, Stephen. Okay. Production. According to Ruggero Deodato, the assistant director, Sergio Corbucci borrowed the idea of the protagonist dragging the coffin from a comic he found on the newsstand in Via Veneto in Rome. That's
Very
interesting,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Stephen?
He doesn't have his earphones back in.
Oh, Stephen's coming back. I need to ask him about this.
Okay, he's back.
He's back.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Just
Stephen,
so you know,
this is from Gugu. So
this
it's
is
gotta be
okay.
right.
Just 1 second, please, because I do need to demonstrate something.
Okay.
Okay, for anyone who is actually watching this shit live, this is how you open a bottle in the Western.
Oh! Sorry, I'm really shouting and we're outside. That was really impressive, though.
I'm all about the authenticity.
If anybody's listening just on the audio, Stephen pulled the cork out with his teeth and he spat the cork.
And it hit a priest.
And it hit a priest in the eye.
And now he's blind.
Now he's blind. Okay, Sergio Corbucci, I'm repeating this. He found the idea for the protagonist dragging the coffin from a comic he found on a newsstand in Via Veneto, Rome. Did you know?
I did not know that.
I would like to find more about that because I would like to find what comic, because that sounds like an awesome comic.
It was probably a kid with a skateboard dragging a coffin.
Why do you have to spoil it for
I'm
me?
just saying. It doesn't have to be a Western.
Also, hands destroyed, you know, the butting of his hands and smashing them to bits, was influenced by previous film Minnesota Clay that Stephen mentioned, about the blind protagonist attempting to overcome his disability. So that was all to do with that.
Those with all of it.
The whole
And
thing.
this show is all about Zoe trying to overcome hers.
This is why people tune in, because I'm the quaint English person who doesn't know anything about it, but who quotes stuff and messes things up and can't remember names.
You haven't messed anything up.
I do mess stuff up a lot.
You're doing
It's part of my
super.
charm, I like to think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like World War II.
Oh, here we go. Apparently you guys rescued us and saved the day. Yeah, I knew you did.
I thought you knew that.
Okay. According to Alex Cox, British director, the whole thing about him smashing his hands and stuff was a sick joke on the part of Corbucci and his brother, who wrote the screenplay, his brother Bruno. It was, hang on. It was a reference to Django Reinhardt, who was an exceptional guitarist, but he
whose hand was burned.
His fourth and fifth fingers are paralyzed. So it was a reference to that.
Yeah, he was Django
See?
Reinhardt was a guitarist.
Yeah.
Who he had these flowers made out of celluloid, and if you've seen Glorious Bastards, you know what happens when celluloid gets lit on fire.
It's bad.
Yeah, the nitrate. So yeah, he had these flowers made out of that same material, and they caught fire, and he burned his hand, but was able to come back and relearn how to play guitar. So that's
Wow.
why that's where the inspiration came from.
That's amazing. I didn't know that at all. Is that so? Do you think that was like a nasty thing? Because that sounds like it's kind of like a cool thing, I would imagine, wouldn't you?
I think it was. I mean, I don't think it was like. I mean, maybe half joke, half tribute.
Yeah.
Which is why the character was named after. He was named Django.
Yeah.
Because they did admire him for being able to come back after such a debilitating injury.
Yeah, and he was amazing as well. My brother's a huge fan of Django Reinhardt, I'll just say.
Mm-hmm.
And he is amazing.
Yes.
Corbucci was also a left-wing political director. So Cox suggests that the machine gun in the coffin, along with the cemetery buried gold in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, was inspired by anti-communist Gladio.
It sounds like a stretch.
No, who hid many 138 weapon caches in cemeteries. So I think it was something to do with that. And Jackson's use of Mexicans as target practice, which you mentioned, was also, I don't know what that means, was something to do with indigenous Brazilians, which were used the same way by white slavers up to as late as the 1950s. And because he was quite a political guy, that was all supposed to be included in it. And also, like you said, the Ku Klux Klan footage, he watched a lot of that apparently when he was writing the parts for Jackson and stuff with the Mexicans and stuff, which was quite cool. Just chipping.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that first part of that, because Alex Cox tends to overanalyze these movies.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his work, and I've learned a lot just from listening to like the director's commentaries and stuff that he's done. But a lot of times it's like, really, that's kind of a stretch. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, I got the impression.
He will spend an hour talking about the meaning of water in Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah. I kind of got that impression.
See, look, there's a creek. This is part of the symbolism we're talking about. And here she is carrying a bucket of water. It's like, just, okay, yeah,
she's carrying
the second,
but
yeah, the second part, I
kind of, that, Django and Maria are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, and that's why they make such a good couple.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, yes, they've been through a lot.
Maybe they just find each other attractive.
They are an attractive couple, even though she's like what was she?
She's a half-breed whore.
What half-breed are we talking here? Because she looks very
she's Mexican-American.
Is she really in real life?
Oh, I don't know.
She's probably Italian. She's probably Italian.
I was going to say, because she looks very, like...
She looks all Italian. She doesn't look half anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how you tell if somebody's half something, but...
Half doable.
Whoa! She is a very attractive lady, I have to say. Originally, they wanted Mark Damon, who played the character of Johnny Oro. But he had a conflicting schedule, so he had to withdraw from it. And Franco Nero or Peter Martell. That's who we were talking about before, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Johnny Oro is yet another movie where you've got a character stuck between two warring gangs. So
we'll have to watch that as well to see. Yeah, because I've read that as well.
I would. I guess it depends on your opinion. I kind of like Minnesota Clay, and it's been so long since I've seen Johnny Oro. I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Well, We're expecting you to be a regular participant on here, Stephen, so you're going to have to get watching.
I will have to get my shit together.
You have to get your shit together. That's what I was saying in a British way.
I might have to learn something about movies.
Nero was reluctant because he wanted to be included in more serious roles, apparently. Do we want to go on to the filming, or am I boring everybody to death?
Fine. No, keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've taught me something already.
Yay.
I don't remember what it was, but.
Oh my God. December 1965 is when they began filming in Tor Caldera Nature Reserve in Nervino in Italy. Carlo Simi designed the dilapidated Western town set, and that was on the, hang on, let me find the place, the Elios set in Rome, where they did a lot of these things. Corbucci originally wanted snow rather than, he was very reluctant about the muddy, set for the town. Are you laughing?
No.
Yeah, and he will get his wish in what movie?
The Great Silence.
There we go.
Oh, seriously.
Which I'm sure we will get to talk about that one eventually.
Yes, we have to do this one very
God.
soon. Matt's not seen it yet, and I watched that one.
Are you shitting me?
No, he hasn't seen it. And
I'm here.
Fucking amazing.
He's like, I'm here.
Oh, hey, Matt, when'd you get back?
I'm just saying, I don't know why I did it, but I got into this, like, a sort of spaghetti western thing, and I just watched all these movies all in a row. And The Great Silence and Django were, like, blew me away. It was so, like, different to anything I'd seen before. Like, The Great Silence is shit hot. It's the most depressing, dark, cynical, like you've been saying, movie that I can think of, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Klaus Kinski.
Yeah, I actually recorded a podcast on that one. I need to see if I can find a copy of it.
How many shows did you do with Vaughn about the westerns? Because I was really into that, and then you stopped doing it.
Life kind of got in the way, but
yeah.
I mean, we did 3 or 4 of those, and then every now and then we'd kind of get back to it. I would do one, or he would jump in and do one. But
it was so
yeah,
good.
we didn't get very many of them, unfortunately, because I really enjoyed it. And that's why I was so excited when Matt sent me that message. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I know, because I said to him,
as soon as we started talking about this, Zoe's like, you know who we should get?
Steven's gonna love this shit, didn't I? I was like, he's gonna be well into it. Okay. Yeah, he wanted snow initially because of The Great Silence, but he was persuaded to go with the muddy streets by, oh God, Bolognini and his wife, the producer. It was filmed in standard European widescreen and printed in Eastman color.
Ooh.
There was very little available sunlight the whole way through the shoot. It was very grey, which you can see a lot of it. Grey, heavy clouds, not much light, and it was hard to choose the correct light. But the whole film, as a result, was underexposed. A lot of it was underexposed, but the type of the film that they used, the negative, permitted this, and the crew was really excited about the visual effects. And I think that was probably a lot to do with, like, that weird kind of lighting that you get with that, I think makes it, you know what I mean?
Well, I think like this also looks more like Yojimbo than Fistful of Dollars does.
Yeah, that weird.
The town, just like everything about it, just the mud. It is so fucking muddy. I mean, the fact that there's that big giant tree knocked over that he could hide behind, that's like a whole other thing. Because if that tree wasn't there, he would have been fucked. Like his whole plan would have gone out the window.
Maybe he dragged the tree there.
Because he's such a good dragger.
He's had plenty of practice. He's been dragging a machine gun out of coffin for
he dragged a machine gun all up a hill with the whole crew laughing at him. You know? I'm kind of mixing reality and...
You're doing super.
Okay. That was the mention about people leaving and going up the hill. critical response.
Uh-oh.
Initially, it was negative due to the high levels of violence, but the response over years to follow original release was incredibly positive. Generally ranked on like best spaghetti western lists, along with Corbucci's The Great Silence, which we've just mentioned, often viewed as one of the best genre films not by Leone, which we've just been saying. American audiences were very appreciative on the limited screenings when it first came out. Newman, McQueen, and Terrence Young loved the sense of humor and originality, which is awesome to know, which you can imagine, because I can imagine people like them appreciating the fact that it was a bit different, you know?
Yeah, especially, somebody like Steve McQueen, who had been in the genre and making these movies. And yeah, you could see where they would have an appreciation for something different coming along.
Yeah, like from a actor's point of view, you can see them going for things that are going to sell and all that kind of thing, but also from an actor wanting to do something different and seeing the potential in stuff. I bet they were like, man, I wish I was doing this kind of stuff instead. I would.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you were, yeah, I would. Django didn't receive classification in the UK until 1993 without cuts with an 18 certificate, which is quite understandable without.
Yeah, and wasn't it even X-rated when it came to America? Did I?
Yeah, I think
may be
it was.
mistaken about that.
Haven't got that. Thanks, Stephen, for pointing out my lack of.
The problems they had were they thought a couple of the horses were injured.
Yeah.
The whipping was a little too sexual of the girl at the beginning.
Yeah.
And his hands getting broken.
It was a little too much.
Yeah. Those were the biggest issues that they had with the film.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because Americans are like, you're usually iffy about the sex side of things.
Yeah.
And the British are more weird about
British.
the violence.
The problems that the British had.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, if there's animals involved, I can see the British going funny about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's a fox.
Oh, controversial. Fox hunting. So, what else do we want to talk? I've got Franco Nero notes here. Franco Nero was a rich. Do you want me to talk about this now, or am I boring you?
You're not boring.
Stephen?
Just
no, please.
Yeah.
Franco Nero, born 23rd of November 1941. Now, he's going to be a big, because we do the Polizio Teschi cast as well. What's it called? Criminal Ciao Ciao.
I must say I don't like him without a mustache.
No, he freaks me out without but he hasn't in Django.
That's what I'm saying. It's
really
weird. Yeah.
No, I like him without mustache in Django. But if he was in a Polizio film, do you watch any of the Polizio ones, Stephen?
On occasion, I'll check one out, but it's not something I've like really embraced the way I have this.
You know, I must admit, I had no interest. I had no knowledge about it beforehand, but with the Ciao Ciao network and all that kind of thing, and the fact that they're branching out into all these different things, we started watching the Polizio Teschi ones, and they're so good that the car chases and stuff and everything, everything about
the violence is ridiculous.
The same kind of thing that goes towards the spaghetti western is
it's just amped.
Yeah, it's the same with the police procedural kind of thing.
But it's also going from the 60s to the 70s, and what was more allowed, and more commonplace. But
it's just so brutal again compared to the American version of it. The American versions were still better than the Western version, I would say. As far as the
Dirty Harry and Death Wish,
they were awesome. We just watched the Death Wish.
What were the first two? God, those are so fucking good.
Yeah, they're fucking.
Although she threw a fucking fit and had problems with Death Wish.
I didn't have a fit. I was just like, hang on a minute.
No, the whole time you're like, I don't find him sympathetic at all.
I still enjoyed it. I thought it was an awesome film, but I was just like, hang on a minute, this
You're like, it's a good thing we're not doing a podcast on this.
because he's just killing people. He can't do that. That's not right. I was being so British, it was ridiculous.
Oh, no. See, Americans, we embrace that.
Yeah, the American.
I mean,
I have to get into the American.
Like, all of us are the character that's the guy in Arizona.
Yeah,
The guy
in
in
Death Wish,
Arizona.
who's just like, you need a gun, a big ass gun. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But anyway,
But
I'm just
moving
saying.
along.
Married to Vanessa Redgrave. Oh, hang on. Francesco Clemente Giuseppe Sparaniro. But he goes by his... What's the name?
Franco Nero.
Well, it's like theatre name, whatever.
Stage name.
Stage name, that's what I was thinking. Married to Vanessa Redgrave, who he met filming Camelot in 1967. So they've been together since then.
But they didn't get married
But they
until
didn't get
when?
married till 2006.
That is nuts.
Yeah, it is.
Bunch of sinners.
Django was his breakthrough role. His father was commissioner officer in the Carabinieri, the military police in Italy, which is interesting, isn't it? He grew up in Bedonia and Milan, studied briefly in the local uni before leaving to study at the Piccolo Teatro di Milano.
Wow, listen to you throwing out accents and
That's
shit.
me being Italian now. His first role was in...
For me to be like, the Prolizio Montano.
Yeah, I do it too. I can't fucking pronounce any of this shit.
Piccolo, I'm going to do it again.
What the fuck?
Piccolo Teatro di Milano. There you
Good
go.
job.
First role was in Pelle Viva in 1962, which was a drama. And then obviously he was in Django in 66, which made him famous. And he was in 8 more film releases in the same year after Django, including Massacre Time. Have you seen Massacre Time, Stephen?
I have not.
No, me neither. I'm not sure what that's like.
But the title alone has me.
Yeah.
I know, it
curious.
sounds awesome. That's why I wrote it down. I was like,
Massacre.
he was Lancelot in Camelot, which I've just mentioned, in 1967. He actually, this is a girly thing, but I needed to mention it. He walked down the aisle with future stepdaughter Natasha Richardson, who, when she married Liam Neeson, and she had a horrible skiing
Didn't she
accident,
die?
I think.
Yeah.
And died. In 1994, and her father had died in 91, so that's why he did it, which is quite cool. His lack of English proficiency tended to limit roles, though he appeared in English language films. Force 10 from Navarone. What's that like? Have you seen that one?
Force 10 from Navarone is a brilliant movie.
Is it? Oh, we might have to watch that. Enter the Ninja in 81. And Die Hard. No, it's not a porno. And Die Hard 2, of course, which I love him in. When I saw that, I was like, hang on a minute, that's Franco Nero. And a lot of people don't know what he's in, other than that, I suspect, when they watch that.
Yeah.
You know, like a mainstream audience,
Yeah.
which is quite cool. He's often typecast in genre films, Los Amigos, Kiyomo, which we're going to cover at some point. I'm looking at you, Stephen.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh my God!
Kiyomo.
See, you're bored with my factual.
No, there was something I needed to look up.
You're so close, babe. Just go.
Impressive range of characters, though, despite the limited thing. He was able in John Huston's epic The Bible in the beginning in 1966. He was also played a gay lieutenant in
Gay Lieutenant.
Querelle
Okay.
in 82. He's played all sorts of stuff.
And he was
He's
in
a
the Fifth Chord.
Yes, which I'm going to mention.
Oh,
He
sorry.
appeared in over 150 films in many genres, including the Poliziotteschi, which we'll also be covering, and Giallo, of course, The Fifth Chord. But there's all sorts of ones. I found an awesome picture of him with his moustache and a gun, which I'm going to do a picture of, at some point, which is going to be hopefully epic, but it could be a mess. We'll see. And in 2012, of course, he appeared in a cameo in Django Unchained.
Playing Django.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he was still playing Django.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No. Stephen.
Steve.
He was playing, right. He was playing manager of the wrestlers that there were in, with Leonardo DiCaprio's character. And when Django says it's Django.
With the D is silent, he says, yes, I know.
I know. There you go. I'll shut up now.
Okay, well, I read that he was playing Django in that, and that they were both named Django, and that's why they were
Stephen, tell him, please.
Okay, here's my problem with that theory. Do you really think Django would have put up with that shit?
Exactly.
Django looked pretty old.
Django would have still been a badass. And if if you've seen Django Strikes Again,
which we haven't.
It's like
is it bad?
Well, I don't know if
it's like Django as Rambo.
That sounds awful.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, just look at the movie poster. It's like, oh my god, seriously? He's wearing the headband like Stallone in Rambo 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he's got the machine gun, and they don't even update the machine gun, so it still looks like a movie prop. Because that's the one complaint I have about that Gatling gun is, it's got all those barrels and shit, but there's not even a trigger on the fucking thing. There's no way this fucking thing works.
I read that as well on IMDb.
And the bullets don't feed through. You'll notice it's only got like half a dozen, like maybe a dozen bullets hanging off the the feeder thing.
Only 3 of the holes actually shoot anything.
Apparently, though, the trivia thing from IMDb says when you watch it, the feed of the bullets never moves. It's just there.
Yeah, because he fires off like 300 rounds, but there's only like 20 bullets there.
It's a magic
and
gun.
They never move. And it's like I understand in the 60s that's one thing, but by the time you get to like 1986, you can update the prop a little bit so it at least functions.
Yeah.
But no, they didn't even fucking bother. It's not a great movie.
I don't know if you heard about
but the one to see is Viva Django, or I think the American name was Django Get Your Coffin or something like that.
Yeah. We watched
with Terrence Hill.
We have to
what
watch
was it?
those.
It is excellent. It's like a pre
or just Django Kill.
Was it Django Kill with Thomas Millian?
That was okay.
Yeah, Django Kill. Yeah, that's an odd,
it's so weird
movie.
We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, we'll have to do that one. That'll be interesting.
I don't know if you heard about this, but in May they announced that they're doing Django Lives with Franco Nero and being directed by John Sayles.
Oh my god!
With Franco Nero.
Yeah. It takes place 50 years after the first movie.
Holy shit.
That does sound amazing.
Yeah, it does.
But I've also been waiting for shit. God damn it.
Stephen, you make me feel better because he can't remember stuff either.
He's been waiting for the Rocky Horror Picture Show remake.
Oh no.
For the Suspiria remake.
He's still thinking.
Oh my god, Jodorowsky.
You can do it.
The Western Jodorowsky did. Marilyn Manson was like going to finance it.
Google it. Google it.
I'm going to Google it.
Google it.
What's this?
Hold on. I've got taglines, but I'm going to have to Google to find them. I'm going to have to put my glasses on as well. A little bit tipsy here, guys.
El Topo. The fucking El Topo sequel. I've been waiting for that fucking thing for 15 years. So.
What's that one? What's that sequel?
El Topo. They're supposed to be doing a sequel to El Topo for the past 15 years now. Yeah.
Holy crap. See, I watched that.
And I would love to see it, but the financing keeps falling through, and supposedly Marilyn Manson was going to raise the money to do it. And it just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
Oh, see,
but I would love to fucking see that.
Yeah, me too.
No.
I watched it
with Gary.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I watched that and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then it just got crazy.
We did watch it together
I think
too.
We did.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is like the beginning with that just like bloodbath with it all running down the streets and stuff. It's such a good film. That'll be interesting to see. Hang on. I'm Googling. Talk amongst yourselves, guys.
Why are you Googling 120 Days in Sodom? What does that have to do with anything?
Another great movie that I wish there was a sequel to.
I haven't seen it, and I really dared.
It would be 120.
Oh my god! Ask Vaughn sometime about that movie.
Oh,
he
I'm not going to ask Vaughn. Vaughn's crazy. He'll terrify me.
He thinks that is probably like one of the top 10 movies ever made.
Really?
Oh yeah, he loves that fucking thing. I've watched it 3 times.
That's pretty impressive.
The first time, I watched it once just out of curiosity, and then the other 2 times I watched it was because it was Vaughn keeps saying, "Oh no, this is such a great movie." I was like, "All right, what does Vaughn see in this fucking thing?" And I watched it again, and I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Vaughn's an enigma.
Now, I'm going to be the asshole here. I felt the same way about Irreversible. Controversial.
I don't know if I've seen Irreversible. That's Monica Bellucci, isn't it?
It's very gimmicky to me.
Is it? Stephen?
It's like the whole thing got backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of... I mean, yeah, it was one of those things that I watched because I heard, okay, I'm going to be so fucking shocked by this.
Yeah.
And then I watched it. I was like, it was all right. I mean,
yeah.
I thought
it was, okay. Yeah, you show a graphic rape, great. But
you used
I would look for a little more. Yeah.
Good job.
A digital cop.
Yeah.
Wanted a little more story to it.
I was going to say Mike raves about that, but
he just likes her.
But he likes Monica Bellucci, so she could be in she could be in a bag, and he would be like, "This is the best thing I've ever seen."
Have you seen Monica in a bag? It is such a
every
good
time.
movie.
Can I just say, every time I post a picture, if I see a picture of Monica Bellucci, I post it just for the fact that I know that Mike is going to go, "Oh my god!"
I better hope he's not listening to this, because he'll like every Monica Bellucci post. Okay, what do you got here?
Okay, these are the taglines. I'm just going to say this. The movie that spawned a genre. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see it.
A century ago, on the low hills along the border between the southern states and turbulent Mexico, a mystery man appeared. A man with a sad, impenetrable face. Who was that man? What was his secret? That's kind of a lengthy tagline.
That's a fucking long-ass tagline.
Yeah, that's more of a synopsis.
That's like, hey, our poster's picture's only this big. Let's put some words on here.
Okay, here's another one. Django, the title of a film you'll never forget.
Yeah,
You could have said that for any film.
it should say Django, the title of a movie you won't know how to say unless you watch the movie.
Or spell.
Yeah.
Django.
Django. Right. Here's the thing. Django, an audacious man of action, capable of a tender, hopeless love which could only last a day.
I thought you were going to say tender hoe.
She is
half-breed hoe.
She is a tender hoe.
These taglines are
tender half-breed hoe.
These are like the worst taglines I've ever fucking heard.
Finishing my tagline.
It's still going.
Worth all eternity.
Oh, that's so shit.
Yeah, that's bad. Okay, whoa. He was pitiless in revenge, quick to decide, and a master of every weapon, a man everybody would have liked to have seen dead.
As long as every weapon is a Gatling gun.
Yeah, that's on it.
It should have been Django. What's in this fucking coffin?
Yeah, that should have been it. He killed for gold. He killed for his woman. He killed for himself.
Dude,
I kind of like that one, actually.
Yeah, I can't
I don't know, man.
Django, a new, ruthless, violent film featuring a great new star, Franco Nero, and a great supporting cast. That's kind of a sellout.
Everyone in this movie is pretty much above average.
They're above average. Watch it.
Everyone learned their lines.
And if they don't, they dubbed them over anyway. Oh, God, that was awful.
Yeah, they were bad. I just would like to say, hang on. It's fun to go to bed. This is ridiculous.
I'm not wanting to go to bed.
Oh, hang on. Right.
Your glasses are right here.
Okay.
Just put them on.
Put them on. Whoa. They're not on my head. Okay.
You're going to be so embarrassed tomorrow. This is awesome.
I'm not drunk. I'm just excited because Stephen's here.
Oh.
Hang on. I meant to talk about the music because we missed the music in the last thing.
Django.
And let's face it, that theme.
Django.
Oh. Right. I got when Django Unchained came out. Oh God. When Django.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. That was
when it came out.
When that came out, that's all she listened to in the bathroom, and it was really loud.
It was really loud, and I listened to it all the time, and I fucking loved the majority of the music from that film. But then I realized that a lot of it is actually from the original that he somehow managed to get. And the theme song for Django is like the best song ever.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, hang on, bear with. Louis
and Clark
Bacalov. That doesn't sound like an Italian name. But he was the guy. Louis Bacalov was the guy who wrote the music for it.
But wasn't it released under like a very American name, like Robert Jones or something? I can't remember the pseudonym that was released under.
But it was, and
it was actually a really big hit.
Was it Bruno? Bruno Nicolai conducted the main theme, and I don't know if he was actually to do with it or anything, but that main theme, and it kind of like there's variations of it all the way through the film and stuff. Yeah. And oh man, it's
Bruno Nicolai did that a lot with Morricone stuff too.
Yeah.
Like in the Giallo stuff, he would like Ennio would write it and then he would conduct the orchestra for it.
Kind of make his own.
Yeah, he would add his little like I need a tuba.
But that's like
you need a little more cowbell.
Every now and then.
Cowbell. But it's such a like that main theme is like,
and it's so funny because it's like not to like start sucking Tarantino off right now, but the sound of that song is so like what he's been trying to do with every fucking movie he's made up until that point, you know, like just the whole
it's so good.
It's so
it's like cheesy, but
that's the last one, huh?
You can share it.
Okay, we can share.
We're down to our last cigarette. This is
oh no, show's over.
And we've had wine.
We've had wine.
So
what we're gonna do?
You're gonna have to walk somewhere. No, but no, the guy who sang it, I guess got a little bit of a career off of this, and then I don't know what the fuck else he did.
Yeah, you got me.
Seriously, whenever I sing in the shower, which you do.
She would blare, and this went on. You know, like when you get into those like habits where like you're listening to like the same album over and over until you've played it out completely. Fucking hell, dude! Like this whole her in the shower listening to the Django soundtrack lasted a little bit too long.
Have you heard it though, Steve? The Unchained one? Yes. There's
Oh
like
yeah.
there's bits of it that are a bit cheesy, and you're kind of like, oh, but they're so catchy because Tarantino, let's face it, he's pretty renowned for his soundtracks of stuff. Yes.
Yes.
But this is like the original version of it. When you watch the original film and you see that music and you hear, you know, all that stuff that you kind of like, I'm talking about modern audiences now, looking back, and if they watch this movie and they hear that, it fits so much better. It's such a good, like, cheesy but awesome soundtrack. It's like everything about it's awesome.
It's
I
as
love
cheesy as his fucking purple velour fucking suit or blue velour suit.
it. Who, Django?
Yeah.
We should have done Django Unchained. Like,
Nah.
we would have been
We
on
could
for
come
like
back.
5 hours. We'll have to do that.
Eventually.
But yeah, you know, like, well, you know, looking at the original soundtrack, one of my favorite pieces is the kind of really dissonant Mexican music that they always play. The theme for the
Yeah.
Mexicans, and it's like a junior high school band playing Mexican music because there's all these like really dissonant notes and stuff through it. But it's kind of like, okay, am I supposed to take these Mexican guys seriously because I hope they shoot better than they play because
Yeah,
their music.
that's the
I mean,
kind of
it almost makes a joke of it.
it's kind of like with like the whole Corbucci thing, with him making the whole thing more raw and stuff. The soundtrack is like that as well. It's kind of like, compared to Fistful of Dollars,
yeah.
you know, that's kind of sharp, and it's
a lot more like punchy in the mouth, I think.
yeah, it's more.
The other thing too, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but you said junior high bands. We had to go to fucking open house last night, and in the
With the
gym,
school.
when we get there, the junior high band is playing Coldplay.
Coldplay.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I was like, so like, what the fuck am I doing here?
There was a little violin and stuff, and they were playing it, and I was like, "That's Coldplay. What are they doing?" But that's kind of it's expected.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's this one video that's floating around of like some junior high band playing Slipknot. That's actually like really good. I think it might be on my Facebook page because my wife probably tagged me in it or something. Because it was like, oh my god, this is pretty fucking awesome. And when you do watch it, there's this little girl in red playing flute who is so fucking into it. You're just going to love her.
Seriously. I would have killed.
No, it's not Slipknot. It's Rage Against the Machine. That's what they're playing.
Oh, Rage Against the Machine. I would have killed for something
Yeah.
like that, just like mixing it up. But
When
Coldplay.
you were in the Durham Youth Orchestra, is that what you're talking about?
I played the French horn, Stephen, in the Durham Youth Orchestra. I did.
I know.
We played Wagner. My dad cried because
There you
he's
go.
a classical music enthusiast, and that's his most proud moment.
No, I was a band geek too.
So the soundtrack is also
I was the pit
available on
man.
double LP. And
I just wanted to say, because we missed the soundtrack from the last one, and this one is equally good, I would say, in a completely.
To be honest, I think I could listen to Fistful of Dollars soundtrack more because it's so like under the radar. I could have it playing.
Yeah.
And if Django's on, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and I'm gonna go.
You got
Django.
Yeah, you've got to sing along to it.
Get all
That's
into
the
it.
thing.
You're a badass walking by, Django.
What's coughing?
Will you ever love again? That's the main point. Because Willie. That's the
Who's
whole
Willie?
point. Will he ever love again?
Got it.
The redheaded stranger.
Yeah.
All right. So
we're just.
At the end of the day,
we just want to say this is an awesome, awesome movie.
Yes.
Stephen, would you you're a big fan of Westerns in general, and you love the whole, I know you do, and you love the whole John Wayne, everything about it. Would you
Well, not everything.
No, you know what I mean. Would you
Yeah.
compare? How would you compare Django in the whole scheme of things? Is it a? Just explain. How would you feel about it compared to the American Western?
Like, where would you rank it? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, in a long-winded, drunken way.
Okay.
Oh, I would rank it. I mean, every bit as good as anything that came out of America.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right up there with all the classics. Like, I mean, as far as American westerns, my favorites are Shane and High Noon. Shit. It's right up there with the Clint Eastwood stuff, which I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely something that, I mean, even if you're not a fan of the genre, I think if you're a fan of film at all, you need to check out this movie because it's something it transcends, it goes beyond the fucking Western. It is just a brilliant fucking revenge story, as well as just a brutal fucking tragedy.
I think it's the best movie I've ever seen with a guy dragging a coffin. Hands down.
How many have you seen?
I don't know. But this is by far the
best. That whole thing.
I've seen 3. So
I was going to say.
And all of them have Django in the title. So
I was going to say that whole, just the fact that it opens up with a guy, muddy, bleak, it's grey, dark, dragging a coffin. That's like, would suck you in. It would suck me in 1,000,000 times over, That's like.
Yeah, right from the opening frame, it's breaking all those rules that had been established by the American Western. Even the spaghetti Western at that point, you still got a guy riding a horse, and you've got something completely fucking different right off the bat.
Exactly.
And then there's so many great lines. My favorite line in it is when the whore asks him what's in the coffin, and he says Django's in the coffin.
Yeah.
And that it kind of tells you where this guy's mind is.
Yeah.
When I first I thought he killed Django, put him in the coffin, and assumed his identity. I'm like, whoa, this is getting deep as shit.
This is deep. What the fuck's going on?
But I mean, what's in that coffin? It's his plot for revenge because he died on that guy that was Django died on that day, and now this is what we're left with: the shell of a man. And you've got, I mean, it's even more depth than what you get with Fistful of Dollars. You've still got the kind of lone guy who's something he's past is broken in, but you never know what. But here it's laid out. It's it's in that coffin, and it has to do with Jackson and the revenge. And then what's going to happen next? And what's going to happen next is going to be a lot of fucking bloodshed.
I was going to say that the Fistful of Dollars with Clint Eastwood and all that kind of thing. I love Clint Eastwood. I can't get away from that. But the character of Django, to me, is more appealing. There's more to him. With that whole thing, like you've just said, it's like, you're like, shit. It's rounded, you know what I mean? You see him and you just think, oh.
Well, I can't wait to sit through the 31 unofficial sequels.
Yeah.
Yee.
Yeah, I made this remark when I was filling in for Vaughn. Every fucking movie with Franco Nero that came out when it was released in Germany was something Django. I mean, of course, there's a bunch of sequels, but there's like Django. Franco Nero is kind of like an Orca Jaws type movie, but it's like Django fights the. Yeah, there's a Franco Nero fights a shark. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen the whole fucking movie.
Hang on a minute.
You have to IMDb this and look up Django Orca.
I'm not being funny.
Yeah, but I swear to you, if it's Franco Nero fighting a shark. But in Germany, I'm pretty sure it was called Django versus Jaws.
Oh my God, I'm dying here. This is like
every fucking movie that Franco Nero was in, it was Django as a cop, Django as this, Django as that.
Django 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now let's get back to Django versus Jaws.
Okay, let's get back to that.
It may be on YouTube.
Oh,
Look up Franco Nero and Shark. I don't know, but I could have swore.
Stephen, are you kidding me? This is like, we're not going to.
I don't know if he has a mustache though.
She's very excited
don't care.
right now. He probably has a beard.
If he has a beard, I'm going to die.
And he's probably in tennis shorts.
Let me Google it and see.
Don't ruin it for me, babe.
And him
Wow.
and Burt Reynolds.
Oh my
make
God,
out.
Stephen's
Yeah,
Googling.
talk around me while I Google this.
He's Googling it. Oh my God.
You're
This is.
such a dork.
1979. It's called The Shark Hunter.
We're going to watch that, babe. Oh my God, that sounds.
And Franco,
amazing.
well, let's see. In this picture, he does have a mustache. So let me. And in the let's see. Yeah, it looks like he might have a mustache and long hair.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Long blonde hair and a mustache.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
Now,
if
I have to watch
this image. Yeah,
I have
it is
to
on
watch
the
this tonight.
Matt's like,
she's gonna
oh my
make me
God, we're
watch
going to
it.
make me watch this now.
Let's see
That
if it's
sounds
on.
like the best film ever made.
Well, what movie are we gonna do next? I know you want to do Kioma, and I do too. But
What
I
do you
don't know
think,
if we
Stephen?
should
Are you
start
going to
that
be on board
next.
with it or not?
If I'm
Put you on the
available,
spot.
yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot right now, but
If he's available.
If I'm available, let's see. Yeah, a month from now. Is that how often we're doing these?
how often do we do
Yeah.
it? A month?
It'll be 4 weeks from yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, you're asking me to think like way the fuck
I
ahead.
know. That's
But yeah, if there's any way at all possible, I've had a blast fucking doing this.
yay.
It's great to be fucking back. Yeah, I was reluctant to get back into the podcasting thing, but thank you so much for having me. And
Oh.
I'm definitely on
Thank
board,
you so much for joining us. Seriously.
and I'm definitely on board
Silence.
next time. Just send me whatever movie you want to cover next time, and I'm on.
What do you think? Do you reckon Kioma or The Great I think we should do The Great Silence.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, let me see if I have any antidepressants. If I can get some prescribed for me before I watch that again. But I mean, yeah, I would love to talk about that movie again. I love that. Oh God, I love that film.
I think
So yeah, either way, I'm cool. I mean,
All right.
the month
that's
after.
so cool. We should
Well,
go for one or the other. We'll
Okay,
decide.
we'll decide. And then
Yeah,
next
just
week
shoot
we
me a
have
message.
Mondo Kane for Mondo Ciao Ciao.
Yeah.
We have The Church for Horror Ciao Ciao. And then what Polizia one were we going to do?
Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But we have The Bloodsucker Leads the Dance for Giallo Ciao Ciao. And yeah, I guess that's all I know at the minute.
Have you got any more updates you need to tell everyone?
Nope, I'm just trying to not fuck up. So if you guys are enjoying this, please go to patreon.com/Ciao Ciao and become a patron, and you get a bunch of stuff. It's on the right-hand side of the page. It explains it.
It's awesome stuff.
We've had a
Tell
bit
them
to
about
drink.
your
What?
Tell them about your eyeball.
The eyeball video game is also up on the Patreon page now for everyone who contributes. So you could play the eyeball video game and be the red slickered killer and kill a girl, grab an eyeball, and ditch the cop. It's super
Did you
fun.
say that, Stephen? He's actually
No, I haven't checked that out yet.
he's actually made from scratch an eyeball, the film Eyeball computer game where there's a guy in a red anorak going around killing girls in bikinis. It's pretty awesome. I don't know how he's done it. It's scary to me.
You might be building
Maybe you
it up
can
a little
Google
bit.
it and find out.
It's like an old Atari version, but it's
It's a little neater, but it's not It's not super amazing.
Yes, it is.
It's
Don't
like in
play it
between
down.
Atari and NES.
What bit is it? Because I don't
Um,
understand this.
I think it's 13. Is how
13
much
bit.
it's using.
But it's all pixelated little bikini girls
But
going like that.
it's basically like a 4-bit.
Okay.
It's like a 4 to 8-bit game.
It's
but,
so good, honestly. And they're going around, and you have to kill them all. And if you kill them all, an eyeball pops up.
The best part of it is that it has the entire eyeball score in 8-bit playing on each level.
Stephen, I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you seen Eyeball?
No.
Oh!
You have
Stephen,
no idea how
Put
much
this on my list.
Stephen,
it is.
I
The
think I
most
know
fun
you.
you will ever have.
Yeah,
watching a
I think
movie.
I know you quite well as far as your taste in films, and I think you will really enjoy it. It's so cheesy. It's a cheesy giallo slasher, isn't it? But it's
so good.
It's classic.
1975.
Yee, Umberto Lenzi.
Umberto Lenzi, and it is a classic.
Oh, it's so classic.
It is.
And it's all orangey washed out. And hopefully no one will ever try to restore it. And it'll continue to look like an orange piece of shit.
No, it's not. It's amazing.
No, I just love how fucking trashy it looks.
And there's this weird, like, waiter guy, isn't there, that, like, keeps playing pranks on everybody, and he's a jerk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
it's added to my list
Oh,
of things to
you'll
watch.
I'm telling you, you will love it.
I need some Tums.
Oh
So,
my God.
and my computer's at 7%, so we got to end the show.
Okay,
before
we got
we
to
die.
go. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
Stephen,
much.
for joining us. And you're going to
Oh,
have
it's been an absolute delight. I can't wait to do it again.
Yay.
You've got to be a regular participant here, guys.
Guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm talking about everybody.
Okay.
You've got to join.
I have to be a regular participant
you
too.
are anyway.
This sucks. All
Thank
right.
you so much, Stephen.
Until
Seriously.
next time, everybody. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao,
Ciao,
everyone.
ciao.
Yay.